Welcome to the Two-Man Advantage podcast. I am Kyle Simkins. I am here at Ford Field with Kevin McShan for the MAC Conference Media Day. We caught up with a bunch of coaches and players from the MAC Conference. First off, Kevin sat down with the University of Buffalo head coach Jeff Quinn.
Coach, can you tell me about your thoughts about an earlier signing day period?
Yeah, for me, I've always been, in my opinion, would really help us in the Mid-American Conference, especially for us. And, being able to have kids sign when they make that commitment would allow us to really focus on, the remaining positions that we have to recruit. And then you don't get any surprises down the stretch in January when, maybe one of those schools from one of the Power 5 conferences come in and, take a kid in the last minute and a kid flips his decision. That would be nice to be able to know that you've got yourself secured at each position at that time.
And can you just tell me about the overall growth of the Mid-American Conference and how far it's come?
Yeah, well, I first started in the Mid-American Conference in 2004 when I came up to Central Michigan, and I've seen the national exposure, being on TV, and McShan, and obviously November each week in November has really allowed our member institutions to be on the national stage. And then when you look at a year ago, Eric Fisher being the number one pick overall in the NFL draft, and then Khalil Mack this year being the fifth pick the overall, has been an outstanding opportunity for us to showcase what each school's doing, the way we develop kids, the way we recruit them, and the way our fans come out and support our football programs each and every week.
And Coach, for you personally as a program, having Khalil Mack selected as the number 5 pick in the draft must have been a thrill for your program individually.
Yeah, well, there's no question. He's still one of my favorite players. It was exciting to watch and coach and be a part of his development. And, he comes from a great family. He came in when he was about 6'2", 215 pounds. We were able to get him to about 6'3", 255 pounds. So I know our plan of development, works. And, he certainly created, his opportunities by taking full advantage of our development program at UB. And certainly to be able to be selected 5th overall helps us on a national stage. Gets us more exposure. There's more kids out there looking at our program saying, hey, if I come to UB, and I followed the same plan, with that coaching staff, not only me, but my entire coaching staff with our current players, I got a chance to be a first-round draft pick.
Transitioning into this season, I'm wondering if you could give me a couple of keys to success for your program.
Well, we got to continue to duplicate that production. We've got great leadership. We got a close team. They've been here all summer. That's important. Our coaching staff, our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator are all intact. That consistency is important. And we just know that last year was just the beginning of what we want to do each and every year consistently as we move our program forward.
Coach, you were one of the top teams in both taking away the ball and protecting it as well. So I'm wondering if you could talk to me about the importance of both those categories.
Well, it's a great point because we take a lot of pride in taking great care of the ball. We value the ball. And certainly with the mentality defensively and in special teams take the ball away, we have implemented some different drills in our practice time to really create that understanding how important it is to protecting the ball and taking away. It's our county fair drill that we've implemented in our program, and every single player in my program knows how to carry the ball. Every single player in my program knows how to strip the ball away, take it away, and they all know how to tackle and they all know how to block. And, those are some key fundamentals, absolutely. And then it carries over. Because you never know in a particular game situation when maybe one of your starters go down and that next bull-in has to step in. And if you haven't taken the time to train him equally to that starter, sometimes they'll lack some of the skills. So I try to develop my whole program, all my players equally every single day, and that's really enhanced our ability to win football games.
And my final question for you is just tell me, when a kid leaves your program, what are some of the principles you're hoping that he takes away from the Buffalo program?
That's a great question because I take a lot of pride in developing the whole person, as an individual, as a student, as an athlete. I want them to embrace the values we've implemented in our program. We understand how to do things the right way and how to be, held accountable and how to hold others accountable, not only yourself but others. And they certainly go out with one of the finest, most powerful degrees that any young man could ever come out of school with a degree from Buffalo. An AAU institution is going to provide opportunities for them in the near future, to enhance their opportunities, to pursue their dreams and opportunities. That's what it's all about, and they could take away some great memories and some great friendships.
Well, Coach, I thank you for your time and wish you best of luck for the upcoming season.
Next up, Kevin sat down with Bowling Green quarterback Matt Johnson.
So you guys were 10-4 a year ago, and one of the best teams in the conference, and one of 3 teams in the conference to win 10 or more games. So I'm just wondering how you appreciate carrying that flag for the conference.
It's a huge honor. I actually didn't even know that stat till you said that right there. But that's a big honor, especially with some really good teams in this conference. Every week it's a battle. No matter who you're playing in the conference, each team, each week anything could happen. So that means a lot that we were one of 3 that could do that.
So you talked about the increased competition in the conference. Can you just tell me about the growth of this conference individually, why you've been playing in it, and how far it's grown?
I think it's come a long way. Every year there always seems to be a new team that pops up and is contending for a championship. I think it was two years ago, maybe 3. Kent State and Northern Illinois were both ranked in the top 20, and both of them had a potential to go to the Orange Bowl. I think this conference has come a long way, and like I said earlier, it feels like each week anything could happen.
For you individually and for the program, what's the key to taking the next step as both a player and a program at Bowling Green?
As a player, I think I just need to keep executing the little things. This staff has really got me focused on accuracy and understanding defenses and things that I kind of thought I knew, but they've really put a light on it and made me appreciate it even more. And from a team aspect, I think we're really looking forward to playing a BCS team, and we need to beat Indiana and Wisconsin this year to really, I think, solidify ourselves as a top program.
And my final question for you is just talk to me about participating in major bowls as a school and the opportunity you have to do that with how far your program's come.
Well, the seniors last year, they started their careers off 2-10. They've come a long way, and fortunately enough, we were able to send them off with a MAC championship, and we were able to go to a bowl game. I know that we were in a rough spot for a little bit there, but we've gone to I believe it's 2 straight bowl games. So we just need to keep doing what we're doing because we've found a system that works.
Well, Matt, I thank you for your time and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Next up, it was my turn to do the interviewing. I sat down with Juwan Edwards. He's the running back for Ball State. I'm here with Juwan Edwards from Ball State University. Now, Juwan, the commissioner, thanks for joining us, by the way. The commissioner was talking about the head injuries and everything that were going on in college football, not just college football, football all around. And as a running back, he had a couple examples where he was mentioning that players had actually held up on the field to avoid that big penalty. Have you noticed any of that firsthand on the field?
No, sir. I'm always getting gang tackled. I'm getting team tackled. My thing is not try to get tackled by one guy. So guys already come in, try to top off, try to clean me up, try to get me to the ground. So I feel a lot of those things. I had a concussion last year and missed 2 games.
What's the process that you have to go through for this, like, you know, the average fan that doesn't know, just to make sure that you can get back on the field from a concussion?
It's multiple tests. You have to pass the test, then you have to have a day in the weight room, then you have to have a practice with no contact, and then when you finally get the contact, if it's not right, if you don't, you got to go all the way back to step one. So it was a process of getting back on the field. Yes, sir.
Being one of the best teams in the MAC last year, how can you guys try and repeat your success from last season as a team?
Just do what we do. We're not going to do anything new. We're going to stay with our concepts, and our coaches going to stay with their coaching styles. Guys just got to come out and execute and win games.
What's the overall goal for the Ball State University football program this upcoming season?
Just for me, I'm not going to say the overall goal for Ball State, but for me, just to win the post game. It doesn't have to be a MAC championship. We've made it to post games, bowl games, and we haven't been able to finish. So just to finish a post game, that would be a goal for me.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Good luck this season. Thank you. Next up, Kevin was back in action. He was interviewing Central Michigan Chippewa defensive lineman Latarius Walton.
Your head coach Dan, spent some time at Michigan State under Mark D'Antonio. So what sort of principles has Coach Enos brought to Central Michigan to make you a better program?
Well, Coach Enos is a great guy, and he really hounds on us older guys about leadership. And, that's our primary focus as a senior group. We've been focusing on our leadership, being leaders to those younger guys, so they have people to look up to, and, they really know they have someone to follow as they go through this process.
And in terms of leadership, you talk about leadership, what sort of responsibility do you feel as a senior that you have to those players to lead Central to a successful season?
The responsibility that us seniors have is to show those young guys the way. They look up to us, because we've been there the longest out of everybody, and it's important for us to show them how it's done on and off the field.
And tell me finally, what would you constitute as a successful season for Central?
Winning the MAC championship.
Nothing else is acceptable, huh?
Nothing else is acceptable to me.
And what are some of the things you have to put in place to accomplish that goal?
My defense obviously has to be effective. Our offense is going to do what they have to do to win this MAC championship as well.
Well, I appreciate your time this afternoon, and best of luck this season.
Next up, it was my turn again. I sat down with Ohio Bobcats center Lucas Powell. All right, I'm now joined with redshirt sophomore center from the Ohio Bobcats, Lucas Powell. Lucas, thanks for joining us here today.
No problem.
So you guys were in the middle of the pack of the MAC last year, a 7-6 record. What does your team have to do to get over that proverbial hump and get a couple more wins in the win column?
We really got to focus on just looking at one game at a time. That's huge for us right now is taking one game at a time, not getting at the end of the season and start looking at bowl games or start looking at MAC championships. We really got to focus on the next game at hand, and that's huge for us right now.
Playing in a MAC school, what does it ever get a little overwhelming when you go into, say, a stadium of 90 to 100,000 people at a bigger conference school?
No, I wouldn't say overwhelming. I think it's exciting. I think it's great for our programs, and it really gets to show our spotlight on national television, national spotlight, and I think it's great. I think we all look forward to it, and that's, everyone's excited about those games.
How can you, as the anchor of the offense, individually help that offense get a little more points on the board this year?
I mean, I just got to do my responsibility. I look out for every guy on the line. I know their responsibilities, but really it comes down to it is I got to do my job perfect, and people look at that, and that helps.
What's the overall aspirations for this upcoming season for your team?
Just to win the first game. Right now, that's what we're looking at, is that August 30th to get that first game under our belt. That's what we're focusing on right now.
All right, Luke. Well, thanks for joining us here on the Two-Man Advantage. Thank you. To round off the day here at Ford Field, Kevin had the chance to sit down with legendary Akron head coach Terry Bowden.
Coach, you have experience in building programs. You were, when you were at Auburn, you were one of the youngest coaches to get to 100 wins before your 50th birthday. Right. So I'm wondering how that experience at a bigger program helps you to build a program like Akron.
Well, I think the most important thing when you're building a program, you got to have some patience. And if you've been through it before, you're not going to waffle or panic when things don't go right. I mean, we went 1-11, and all your starters say, "Well, guys, this is harder than I thought." And then we went 1-6 the next year, so that's 2-17. And people probably think, well, you're giving up. Something's going to. If you know you've been there before, and you know if you keep applying the fundamentals and you've got the right things in place, I think you have confidence from your past experiences and your past success that it's going to happen here as well. And I had no doubt in my mind that if we apply the right fundamentals at Akron, do the right things, we're eventually going to win. So that's how it helps. Having gone to Auburn after 2 losing seasons and winning 20 straight games, or going to Sanford as a Division III school and moving to 1AA, or going to Salem College as a 1-9 team and then winning the conference championship 2 years in a row. All those things help prepare you so that you wouldn't get nervous or shaky or panic when things didn't happen quickly at Akron.
Good stuff. And you, down the stretch, you won 4 of the last 5, and you led the school to its best record since 2008. So I'm wondering how you can use those statistics as building blocks for your program.
You know, it's all about the players changing the culture. The culture is players especially, but people expecting to win as opposed to expecting to lose. Going to a season and fans just going, well, here we go again. Or halfway through the season, everybody saying, wait till next year. Or players going into the second half saying, well, what's going to happen to make us lose as opposed to what's going to happen to make us win. That you've got to change that expectation level. So what 4 out of 5 wins and 3 straight wins at the end mean? A near win over Michigan. What that means is the players now begin to see the results. They begin to expect to get into tight ball games, and they believe they're going to win. And what happens is, I believe that manifests itself, that if you believe you're going to win, you're going to do the things necessary to win. It's about being positive as opposed to negative, seeing the glass half full as opposed to half empty, and going out there and playing toward those expectations.
And you talk about the win against Michigan. Can you just tell me how that catapulted your program into the national spotlight?
Well, you know, you can't do that with any other win. You can have a great win over Kent, which we did, and that's huge because across the street from me are fans of theirs, and we live door to door. We're fans that live in the same neighborhoods, and that's one you've got to win just to go to the grocery store and be happy. But when you go out there and play Michigan well and almost beat them, then somebody calls you from Arizona and they write about you in Alabama and they write about you in New York. They write about the accomplishments of the football team nationally. So when you play a team that has a national reputation like Michigan, most likely you're going to get your fanny waxed is what's going to happen. But when you go out there and they don't play well and you're ready for the occasion, you go out there and play like we did, then your program gains that notoriety. People begin to talk about you, and you get something that you can't just get winning one of your local games.
And your quarterback, Kyle Powell, he also won the Good Hands Award last year. So can you talk about building a sense of community within your program?
Well, I mean, you know what? That's whether it's the quarterback doing it or anybody in your team, you got to understand that how important it is that you build a relationship with your community. I mean, that's critical to your program. Now, as a football coach who is a mentor to my players, who at some point in my career had to make a vow that I would treat my players like my own children, then we need to go out there and give to people that aren't as fortunate. We need to go out there and be there at Children's Hospital. We need to go out there and show that we care about those kids that can't play the game that we play. The community projects, the involvement in the community is critical. Now, that Kyle Powell is a Good Works project guy that wins the award for Good Works. Well, he's your quarterback. He better do things like that. He better be one that has good judgment. He better be the one that cares about other people on his team and other people in the community. So I don't make Kyle Powell do what he did, but if I'm going to have the kind of quarterback that I want to have the intangibles, then I would hope he's the kind of guy that would be the first guy out there in the hospitals saying hello and visiting with sick children or needy folks around the community.
In terms of building a community or fan base and sort of galvanizing your fan base, how important are big wins in the conference to accomplishing that goal?
Well, you've got to do it. I mean, people look at all of our season last year, near win over Michigan, 3 in a row and 4 out of the last 5. But the thing that really, I think, made the biggest impact on our players and on our program was in our very last ball game, where a 7-3 Toledo comes into the stadium, and they're going to go to a bowl. They are a perennial bowl team. They knock off BCS level teams at times. They're going to be a bowl if they win. We go out there, and for the first time in my 2 years, we go out there and win a game against a bowl level team. Now, if you're going to be a bowl team, you got to beat bowl teams, and so I think that's what it means to beat top teams in our conference. The teams in our conference like Ohio U that have won continually, and Bowling Green now that are winning, and of course Toledo and Northern Illinois, and even Kent State, who went to the conference championship 2 years ago. Big wins in our conference are really the most important thing to our program. Is a conference championship, and that can only come with big wins in our conference.
And when you look at the bigger picture as a MAC conference, how far do you think the conference has come, and what do they still need to do to continue that growing process?
Well, I think the conference, without a doubt, you look at 2 years ago when I think 7 of our teams got to bowl games, or 6 or 7, and so many of our teams are becoming bowl eligible. Northern Illinois knocks off 2 Big Ten teams, and I don't want to toot their horn. I don't need to that much. They got too much going for them. But when we continue as a conference to do things like that, it only enhances the value of our conference. First round draft pick 1 year, 5th guy picked in the draft this year, 2 guys in the first round, big wins over team, going to a BCS bowl game a couple of years ago. All those things enhance the quality of our conference reputation. It helps me to bring quality athletes to Akron because guys want to play this type of competition. So all those things are good. And I think, I'm only 2 years in the conference. Now, back in the mid-'90s when I was the head coach at Auburn, we played Western Michigan, and I've known a lot about the conference, coaching in other parts of the country. But I think right now, top to bottom, the Mid-American Conference, at least for the 2 years that I've been here, has been as strong as it's ever been. And right now we're experiencing a strength in college football like we have not felt before.
Hey, 2-part question for you in terms of the new playoff system and how you think it may affect the MAC conference, because it was a good thing to have the BCS for the conference, but from asking you to put your television hat back on, right, how do you think the new playoff system will work and benefit college football?
It will only enhance college football, make it better. We are probably experiencing top attendance numbers in college football, top television ratings, top revenue producing in college football. But until we have a playoff, until we get rid of the mythical national championship, which is the only sport in college to have a mythical championship and not a win on the field championship, until we have a playoff in college football, it's not going to be as good as it can be. It is not. A 14 playoff is only a 14 playoff. It's just a taste of what we're going to have. When we get to an 18 playoff, and I imagine that's going to be that's going to be a leveling point because we have these conference championship games. I'd love to see a 16-team playoff, but I think with conference championship games, in a lot of ways, that becomes the first round of the playoffs. But I think when we get to an 18 playoff, that gives you a weekend around Christmas with 8 teams and 4 games where everybody can win a championship, and then you get to January 1 with 4 teams and 2 games and anybody can go to the championship, and you get to a championship game, we're going to see an entirely new level of viewership, of interest, of excitement, very much like March Madness. We'll have brought back the excitement of bowl season that was lost when we named a BCS playoff, our 2-team championship game 2 weeks into January. We practically destroyed a lot of the bowl games. Mm-hmm. That being said, as long as it's a 14 playoff, I don't think the MAC conference will ever be affected. I don't believe we're at a level of strength of schedule where we will be in a position to ever be picked in those top 4, no matter how good we play. If it gets to 8, which I think it will, and we continue to do our due diligence as a conference, I think we'll have a chance maybe to be that 8th team or that, and all of a sudden we're the movie Hoosiers. We're the chance for a team to step in and do the unthinkable, is to get into a playoff and ride yourself through it. And so it starts with a playoff. We needed to have one, and it's only going to get better as it increases.
And finally, Coach, putting a bow on things, Can you give me just your general impressions heading into this upcoming season and what you like about your team?
I just like the effort, the chemistry. We have, our team has been through a lot. This team has been through, many of the players have been through 3 head coaches, been through 3 one-win seasons. A lot of our upperclassmen never given up, never given out, never quit, and they're working extremely hard. I don't think I have a group of players that deserve to have some things happen good to them than these guys. So I love their effort. I love their resilience. I love their attitude. Those are the intangibles that you would like to have in the team and players, and those are the things I'm most fond of as being the head coach at Akron. I said Auburn. Oh my goodness.
Well, thanks for your time this afternoon, Coach, and best of luck with the upcoming season.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're back here at Ford Field for the Mid-American Conference Media Day. I am now joined with Kevin, as you can see. Kevin, what was your overall thoughts of the day here at Ford Field?
Kyle, it's certainly been an interesting day here at Ford Field as a part of the Mid-American Conference Media Today. We had a chance to learn about the expansion of the conference and how the conference will continue to grow and expand, how they're proud of their national accomplishments, having 3 teams win 10 games or more. We had a chance to sit down with Matt Johnson, the quarterback of Bowden Green, who talked about the success of that program and putting it on a national stage. We just watched the extensive interview that I conducted with Akron head coach Terry Bowden, who touched on both the success of his own team in building that program.
He had a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah, building his program, the state of college football, and the state of the MAC conference as well. So it's certainly been a productive and both intriguing day right here at Ford Field.
And before we even sat down with any of those players and coaches, we sat down with the MAC Conference Commissioner, John Steinbrecher. You got to ask him a question in the press conference. What was it about?
I asked him about the importance of growing the conference. Again, he talked about the national accolades of the conference and how they're still continuing to grow on the bowl scene and how their national television commitments help them grow as a conference with ESPN.
Well, before we get into it too much, we'll show it to him right here. We have it on video. Audio might not be the best, but here it is.
Commissioner, it's Kevin McShan from the True Man Advantage podcast, and you talked in your earlier remarks about growing the conference. You also talked about the number of schools with 10 wins or more, and you also talked about the national accomplishment of the conference. So I'm just wondering, based on the information you've already given us, what are some other ways that the conference will continue to grow or look to grow and expand?
The Mid-American Conference is unique among Group of 5 conferences, and when I talk of that term, I'm talking about the American Athletic Conference, Conference USA, Mid-American, Mountain West, and Sun Belt. And we're kind of unique among FBS conferences in how broad-based our programs are. We have championships in 23 sports. Only 2 FBS leagues do more, the ACC and the Big Ten. And yet we do that with, quite frankly, significantly fewer resources. And yet in virtually all of those sports, we have teams that compete at the upper levels. And we take great pride in that. I think we've made some very deliberate decisions. It's why we have affiliate members in some of those Olympic sports and other sports. We want to retain those championships. We like those opportunities. So our goal is to hopefully maintain our broad-based programming as best we can. From a membership perspective, I think we're in a good spot. We have 13 football member institutions for the next 2 years. From 12, after that, we revert back to 12. We have 12 full member institutions. I don't anticipate a change in that in the foreseeable future.
Just to wrap things up, Kyle, I'm interested to know what your final thought was here at Ford Field.
Oh, it was a long day.
Yes.
But it was an enjoyable day. You got to learn a lot about the MAC conference. Before today, I think the two of us thought there was 12 teams in it.
And
There's 13. UMass will be leaving after the 2015 season.
Yes.
They didn't want to make a full commitment to the MAC with all their other
athletic commitments. Yes.
So, I learned a lot. It was really fun. I mean, getting to sit down, watching you sit down with Terry Bowden and even Jeff Quinn from Buffalo was a good time. I really legitimately had a really good time here today.
Yes, it was certainly a very, very extensive day. Very, very good pieces of information, and certainly a valuable experience. And we hope the viewers out there are more educated about all of what the Mid-American Conference has to offer.
All right, so for the Two-Man Advantage, for Kevin McShan, I'm Kyle Simkins. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.